This would have been the biggest scam we have ever seen in the history of this country. But it does hide another scam going on right now that nobody is talking about. Check out this clip.
Governor Gavin Newsome has vetoed a controversial bill that would have helped undocumented immigrants purchase homes in California. Our Capitol correspondent Eitan Wallace was with the governor this afternoon and has more on why he rejected the legislation.
Felt it was unnecessary.
Governor Gavin Newsome defending his decision to veto Assembly Bill 1840. It would have allowed undocumented Californians looking to buy their own home to apply for the state's first-time homeowners assistance program. Per the program, qualified applicants could receive as much as $150,000 in state-funded down payment assistance. Several Democratic lawmakers had hoped the governor would sign it.
This is a common-sense bill that allows individuals, many of whom were essential workers during the COVID crisis, to be able to get in line and hopefully buy their first home.
But in this veto message, Newsome expressed fiscal concerns with the bill, noting the legislature had not appropriated any money for it amid the state's challenging budget situation.
It was expanding eligibility to a program that had no money. Seemed rather curious to me. So felt it was unnecessary. Completely consistent with prior vetoes along the similar lines.
Republicans weighing in.
It is bad public policy. So I was excited and pleased that the governor vetoed this bill.
What do we want? Reparations! What do we want?
On the issue of reparations for descendants of enslaved black Americans, it's been less than 1 week since Assembly members with the California Legislative Black Caucus took heat for refusing to take up a vote on 2 reparations-related bills. The first bill would have created the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency in charge of overseeing the reparations process in the state. The second bill would have created a reparations-related fund.
All right, so if you're anything like me, the first thing you're thinking is, why are undocumented immigrants getting state money assistance to buy houses? Now, this was so perplexing to me, I had to do a little research to find out what was going on. Because the first thing that comes to my mind is, if you're undocumented, then how are you able to apply for state assistance on getting a house? Because wouldn't they then know who you are? Wouldn't they be able to get documentation on you if you're applying for a state-funded loan? Doesn't make any sense, does it? So I had to look into this, and I found out some very interesting things, and then it opened my eyes to this whole scam that the state of California is running, and it opened my eyes to how racist the state of California is. But we'll get into that at the end of the video. So let's answer the first question. What is undocumented? And like I said, I would have thought that means an illegal alien that runs over the border and is running around in the United States where we have no documentation that this person even exists. But that's not what undocumented means. So I did a little digging and I found out that you do not have lawful immigration status under federal law. And that's what it means to be undocumented. Not that we don't know who the heck you are and that you don't exist on any databases in this whole country. So the people that don't have lawful immigration status under federal law can include the following. The people who entered illegally, yeah, but also the people who overstayed their visa, okay? So we know about them. It includes people who have pending asylum cases. That's an interesting one. People who have work permits under special programs like DACA, D-A-C-A, but no permanent status. And then finally, these are people that are known to the government but not legally authorized to stay here. So it doesn't mean that we have no record that these people even exist. So in the state of California, they give public benefits to people that are undocumented, meaning folks that have an expired visa or some of the other cases that I just listed out. So regardless of immigration status, the state of California will include everyone for state benefits. And see, that's the rub right there, because California wanted to do that whole Medi-Cal thing where they were going to spend $2 billion giving insurance, given medical insurance coverage to people that are not U.S. citizens. And when they're spending the government's money and they're in a multi-billion-dollar deficit, well, guess who ends up holding the bag after they run their state into the ground? That would be us. And that's the hidden scam behind all of this. Now, the reason why I said that this would have been the biggest scam ever is because the governor, Greasy Gavin Newsome, actually, he vetoed the bill. So the bill did not go through. But if he would have passed it, yeah, that would have been the biggest con game ever pulled in the history of this country. But it does not excuse what they're already doing. So just because he denied that bill doesn't mean that they're not already spending hundreds of millions, no, billions of dollars on people that are not citizens or in this country legally. It doesn't make any sense. Now, the other question that I was wondering is, how can you have undocumented immigrants also be called essential workers? So I did a little research there, and basically this happened during COVID when California, the state, classified a lot of workers as essential based on their job roles, not their immigration status. So see, there it is, California being slick again. So they took all of the farm workers, the food processing workers, healthcare support staff, delivery drivers, and construction workers that were not here legally, but if they were working a job, they called them essential. What a con game. That is so wrong. What do you think about that? Post in the comments below if you think the state of California has a right to call these people essential workers, even though they're in violation of federal law. Let me know. So all of California's public benefits guidance, everything that they give to all of their state residents, they give that to you regardless of your immigration status. You can be undocumented, you can overstay your visa, you can just be here completely illegally. You get it all. And that is so wrong, in my opinion. Now, how in the world can somebody undocumented still apply for state funds? That doesn't make any sense to me either. You know, coming in from another country, but then you're going to spend up money from the taxpayers of California? Well, right now you can. And that's because they are using their state funds, not the federal funds for these programs. So since they're using their own money, they get away with it. Is it legal? Well, that's in a gray area to me. And the problem happens whenever California runs themselves into the ground and then needs to be bailed out using federal funds after wildfires and disasters because they don't have any money left in the state budget because they spend it on undocumented illegal immigrants. That's where I have a problem with it. So let's talk about all of the state-funded programs that are included for the undocumented people. These are excluded from federal programs, but here's the state programs that you do qualify for being illegal. I'm going to list you 4 of them. State-funded Medi-Cal. That's the janky California version of Medicare, all right? The California Dream Act Financial Aid Program. All of the emergency assistance programs. And all of the local housing programs. Yep, that's right. Illegal aliens get all of that. And since they're using the state money, they're not necessarily breaking the law. But I guess apparently everybody in the state who's paying taxes, they don't mind handing over their money to people who are coming into the country illegally. And so I'm like, hey, well, for all you folks that don't have a problem with that, move to California and hey, have a good time, become slaves to that system, go right ahead and hand over all your money to the illegals. But then don't come knocking on Uncle Sam's door when you need federal money because you wasted all of your state funds and you can't handle emergency situations. Okay, so again, undocumented doesn't mean that the government does not have any record of you. Now, here's some shocking facts for you in the state of California. A lot of these undocumented illegal immigrants all have some of the following. I'm going to give you a list, 6 things that some of these people have and do. Okay, so many undocumented immigrants file taxes using ITIN numbers. Wow. They have state driver's licenses. Yeah, the state of California allows that. They have children in public schools. They receive state-funded benefits. They have employment records, and they can also have pending immigration cases, but they're here illegally. I can't fit that into my head. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me whatsoever that you could go through all the trouble to file taxes and get an ITIN number, but you can't renew your green card. You can't get your immigration status updated. You can't get the paperwork done to make yourself a legal resident of the United States. Now, post in the comments, let me know, is this right? Do you think it's okay for the state of California to hand out driver's licenses and let people file taxes? But, oh, we don't mind. We know you're here illegally. We're just not going to push that. Now, what's the reason why they're allowing that? Well, of course, since California is our #1 blue state in the nation and run by a bunch of crazed liberals, well, it's all about the votes. If they can stuff that state full of illegals, they can control the state forever because they're going to turn those people into voters. That's why it's illegal in the state of California to show an ID when you go to vote. They don't want you showing that ID because they want to allow the illegals to cast a vote. Don't believe me? Go look it up and you'll find out yourself. So they're wanting to give the benefits, this home buying benefits. And that's just nuts. If this would have passed, that would have meant that the taxpayers would have been forking over their money so illegals can have the cash as a first-time home buyer and get a state-backed loan. Wow. Now, why would you say, okay, cut the line, come on in, illegals, get your houses, get your down payments, we'll pay for it, but I can't get that myself? Does that make any sense? Doesn't make sense to me. Now, what makes it even crazier is this whole reparations bill thing. So crazy California, they decide that they want to look into giving the black residents, foundational black Americans, reparations. So they finally get this bill put together, right? And so when you read the bill, they said they're going to create a fund, but they're not going to put any money in it because they don't have any money. Now, does that make any sense? We're going to create a fund for reparations, but we're just not going to fund it. It's like opening up a bank account and all you got is $1, the minimum amount. You make that minimum amount deposit and that's it. So they're going to create the reparations fund and not put any money in it. But guess what? The governor vetoed that bill too. So he said no, even though he's promised for the last, 7 years that he's all for reparations. But when the bill comes, he denies it. And even the bill that says, hey, let's just create a fund with no money, he turned that down, vetoed. Now, does that make any sense? So here we're coming up with bills in the state of California. Thank goodness he did veto it. But the legislature wants to give their money to illegals, but they don't want to give reparations to foundational black Americans. Now, I'm not getting into the whole reparations argument, but I don't blame them. How is it that the black people of California have to sit back and say, oh, let's let the illegals cut the line and get our money that we're paying taxes for while they tell us no reparations for you because we can't afford it? Doesn't make any sense. Now, if you can make sense out of this, feel free to post it in the comments and explain it to me because I don't understand it. Not one bit, but you're free to have your opinion. Let me know if you agree with me or if you vehemently disagree. But that's all I got for this one. This is Carlton, and I am out.